Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. We've got a really interesting stack of sources today, all uh, really centered around this idea of projecting confidence and authority. How to sound like, well, a calm, fearless leader.
And the angle these sources take is fascinating, isn't it? They look at the communication style of a certain fictional character known for exactly that, Thomas Shelby from Peaky Blinders.
Right, and the core message pulled from this material, it's pretty stark, actually. It's basically, if you want to sound like Thomas Shelby, you need to, well, stop speaking like a student, maybe hesitant, a bit unsure.
Yeah, and start speaking like a boss. It's about shifting your whole presence, really, just through language.
Exactly. So this deep dive is really about exploring how emulating elements of his very distinct speaking style, as the sources present it, can help you sound more confident, more serious, more like you're in control.
hmm We're going to look at some specific examples, some phrases, and also the delivery techniques that the material suggests are key.
And it's all guided by the source material you sent over. So let's start with the man himself, I suppose. Who is Thomas Shelby in the way these sources frame him?
Well, officially, he's a fictional character, head of the Peaky Blinders gang post-World War I Birmingham, played by Cillian Murphy, of course.
Right.
But the sources really stress that he's more than just a character in a show. He's presented almost as a symbol.
A symbol. Okay, a symbol of what exactly, according to them?
Power, for sure. Strategy, definitely. That incredible calm under pressure.
Hmm.
And crucially for us today, really precise, impactful language.
And his speaking style isn't just, like, a side note. It's a defining feature.
Oh, absolutely. The material really points out how distinct it is. Slow,
Yeah.
controlled, often uses very few words, but they land with incredible effect. Commands attention, conveys authority.
Yeah.
So for anyone looking to maybe boost their English speaking confidence, the sources are basically holding this up, his deliberate approach, as a pretty powerful model to study.
It's not about being a gangster, obviously. It's the technique of his communication. And what's really interesting is how the sources then try to break this down into, like, practical takeaways, looking at specific phrases he uses.
Yes, exactly. They pull out 5 specific phrases from the show, not necessarily for you to go around saying the exact same words, but to understand the idea or the structure behind them and then adapt it.
Okay, let's dig into those 5 then. Starting with, well, probably the most iconic one. By order of the Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. In the show, that line is just pure authority, isn't it? It means unity, the power of the group behind the words, and that the decision is, well, absolute. It comes from the top.
But how do you apply that structure in daily life? Like, how does the material suggest you do that without,
Without running a gang, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about borrowing that structural formality, that declarative nature.
Okay.
The sources give examples like, by order of the boss, the meeting is canceled. Or maybe framed more personally, something like, by order of my heart, I'm not giving up. It just adds weight to what you're saying, gives it that almost official decree-like feeling. The source
Okay.
notes it's a great way to sound strong, decisive.
I like that. Taking the form of power, not the content necessarily. Okay, what's the second phrase?
I have no limitations. Tommy often says this when he's just absolutely determined to get something done, often against really high odds.
And the interpretation the sources give that.
They read it as just pure self-belief, basically. I believe in myself. Nothing is going to stop me.
Mm.
It's presented as a really powerful internal motivator, but also something you can project outward.
Right. And how do they suggest you might use that idea?
Well, it's for those moments when you're facing challenges, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed. You can use it internally or even state it kind of like a personal affirmation. The example they give is, I may not know everything yet, but I have no limitations. I will learn. It's about using language to sort of reinforce your own capability, focus on your potential, not just the current obstacle, push yourself forward.
That feels like a real mindset shift, just changing your internal script to be more proactive, confident. Okay, phrase number 3.
You can change what you do, but you can't change what you want. This one's presented as one of his more sort of philosophical lines.
Okay, and the meaning behind that one?
It suggests that, while your actions might change your job, your path in life may be due to circumstances or choices. Your fundamental desires, your true passions, those remain. They're core to who you are.
So living true to your core desires, even if the way you pursue them changes.
Precisely. The sources illustrate it with an example like, I studied engineering, but I really want to be a writer. I can change what I do, but not what I want.
I see.
And using this kind of idea, the sources suggest, can make you sound quite reflective, insightful, adds a layer of thoughtful intelligence to how you communicate.
Okay, shifting gears a bit for number 4. This one definitely has that signature Peaky Blinders edge. I don't pay for suits. My suits are on the house or the house burns down.
Yeah, sounds pretty intimidating, right? But the sources are very quick to clarify. This is not literal advice about, arson.
Okay, good. So the real message isn't the threat, but what?
It's essentially an expression of extreme confidence and perceived value influence. It's basically saying, I am so valuable, so important that businesses want me associated with them. They benefit from me wearing their clothes.
Okay. It shifts the power dynamic. It's not him needing them, it's them needing him.
Exactly. And the crucial point, the sources really hammer this home. You absolutely do not use this line literally,
Well,
ever.
emphatically not.
No. The instruction is to channel the idea behind it, your own value, your influence into how you communicate your worth, especially, say, in professional settings.
Okay, so how would that translate?
The example offered is something like, I don't chase offers, the right job will come to me. It reframes your position. You're not seeking approval, you're attracting opportunity because of your inherent value. It projects quiet confidence, not desperation.
That's quite a powerful mindset shift,
Yeah.
actually, encapsulated in a phrase like that. Okay, and finally, phrase number 5.
Good taste is for people who can't afford sapphires.
Classic Shelby flair there.
It really is. And the sources interpret this as being about style, yes, but more broadly about a kind of confidence that doesn't stick to conventional norms.
Okay.
It's like saying, I don't follow boring rules about what's considered good taste. I define my own style, and maybe it's bold, maybe even excessive, but it's mine because I can.
It's about making your own rules and just owning your individuality, even if it goes against the grain.
Exactly that. So the suggestion is to use that mindset as inspiration, to show your unique perspective and confidence in your everyday English. The example they used was something like, some people dress to fit in,
Yeah.
I dress to stand out.
Right.
It encourages you to communicate your individuality with confidence rather than just trying to blend in.
So these phrases, they give us specific ways to inject that confidence, that kind of boss mentality into what we say, right? By adapting the structure or the core idea.
Mm-hmm.
But the sources seem to put just as much, maybe even more, emphasis on how Thomas Shelby speaks. His delivery.
Oh, definitely. This might be the most impactful part, actually. The material consistently points to his delivery. He speaks slowly, clearly, and with very little overt emotion showing.
And the sources give a really compelling reason why this works so well.
Yeah, it's all about projecting power, essentially. Calm, deliberate speaking signals control. It signals confidence. Think about the opposite, speaking really fast, maybe nervously, stumbling over words.
Yeah, he's so anxious.
Exactly. The sources argue that just mirrors your internal state, and it makes other people feel your anxiety. It undermines your authority completely.
Whereas speaking slowly, it gives the impression you have all the time in the world. You're in control, you're deliberate.
Precisely. It forces people to listen, doesn't it? To lean in, speaking slowly, using those strategic pauses between thoughts or sentences. It commands attention. It makes each word feel more significant, cuts through the noise.
So it's not just about cutting out filler words like or but actively using silence and pace as actual tools in your communication.
Exactly.
And the sources offer a pretty simple, practical way to try this out.
They do. They suggest taking a common sentence, maybe one you'd normally rush through, and delivering it the Shelby way. So instead of saying something like, I think we should go now because it's getting late, which most of us would just blur out, especially if we're feeling the pressure of being late.
Right, you just kind of spit it out.
Yeah. The suggestion is to strip it right back, slow it down, say, we should go. Pause implied. It's getting late.
Just 2 clear, distinct statements with that pause in between.
Powerful.
Less words, more power. That's really the essence of this delivery style, according to the sources. Get rid of the conversational clutter, the I think, the because, and just deliver the core message with impact. Use that pace, use those pauses to underline your point. This deep dive, drawing from these sources, it really makes a strong case that sounding like a confident leader, it isn't just about knowing more words or having perfect grammar. It's so much about intentional style, presence, and control in your delivery.
It really is.
It's about that shift, isn't it? From speaking like someone who's hoping people will listen to speaking like someone who just expects to be listened to. That speaking like a boss idea.
Exactly. Learning to communicate like you mean business, not like someone who's still tentatively figuring out what they think as they talk.
And the material definitely encourages you, the listener, to take action.
Absolutely. The challenge straight from the sources is basically pick one thing we talked about today. Maybe it's one of those freeze structures you liked, or maybe it's just focusing on slowing down your pace and using pauses more deliberately.
Right.
And then consciously try it. Try it in your next English conversation.
Say it out loud. Notice how it feels. Pay attention to how, as the sources suggest, it might shift the dynamic just a little bit. Feel that change in your presence.
Because ultimately, as this material really highlights, becoming fluent, truly fluent in English. It's not just about ticking off grammar rules in a textbook. It's about mastering style, finding your rhythm, and projecting confidence through your voice and your choice of words.
And by actively applying these insights, the ones we've explored from the sources today, you're not just, improving your English skills, you're stepping into a more powerful, more commanding way of communicating. A really interesting takeaway.